Gentleman from Oregon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I recognize the chair of the Investigations Oversight Subcommittee, Mr. Miller, the gentleman from North Carolina, for 2 minutes.
Gentleman from North Carolina is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you. I also rise to support this legislation. Others have spoken generally of the agility and the energy that small business innovation gives our economy and how SBIR and STTR contribute to that. But I want to talk about two companies in my district that have gotten SBIR and STTR grants. The first is GeoFX, which got a SBIR grant from NASA in 2000 to develop a sensor to detect electromagnetic changes beneath the surface within 30 feet. NASA wants that technology so they can tell whether there is water beneath the surface of Mars, and that is reason enough to develop the technology. But GeoFX has found many commercial applications. They are using that technology now to determine if there's water beneath the surface of Earth. They are using that technology, or the Department of Defense is using this technology to detect landmines and mines in water. Construction companies are using the technology to detect buried cables and sewer lines and water lines. The second company is 3Phoenix, which I visited recently. They are also developing a sensor technology, almost all of which initially is for military applications. They are, for instance, developing a sensor that can detect a periscope peeking up above the surface of the water from 30 miles away. The Navy really wants that technology. And 3Phoenix has gotten a little more than $800,000 in several grants under SBIR so far, but they already have billings, contracts that will add up to almost $9 million in billings, and they have just begun to scratch the surface of the commercial applications. If you've got a sensor that can spot a periscope 30 miles away, it is a snap to develop a sensor using the same technology to tell if there is a car in a parking space. And they're now working to develop a technology that will tell drivers in a downtown where the closest empty parking space is. The potential that holds for relieving traffic congestion is enormous. It will save energy, it will save emissions, it will save frustration. Support this bill.
Who seeks recognition? Gentleman from Nebraska.
I'd prefer to reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlewoman from New York.
Mr. Chairman, I yield to the gentle lady from Illinois, Ms. Halverson, who authored several of the provisions of this bill for 4 minutes.
The gentlewoman from Illinois is recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise today in support of H.R. 2965, the Enhancing Small Business Research and Innovation Act. I want to thank Chairwoman Velasquez, Ranking Member Graves, and Mr. Altmaier for their leadership on this important piece of legislation. I'm proud to be an original co-sponsor of this bill, which includes language from legislation I introduced in H.R. 2747, the Rural Technology Development and Outreach Act. For nearly 3 decades, the Small Business Innovation Research Program has sought to increase federal funding for innovative small businesses that seek to develop new technology with commercial potential. Without funding assistance from SBIR, many small businesses would never have the opportunity to develop their research into products that can be brought to market. Over the years, SBIR has helped build thousands of small startups into successful companies. Unfortunately, SBIR awards are often concentrated in a small number of states or regions. There are promising small firms that don't apply for SBIR because they are unaware of the programs and its benefits. Many of these firms are located in rural communities and in underserved areas. Today, families living in rural communities throughout the country are struggling. Too many of these rural communities face a tremendous shortage of economic opportunities. As a result, unemployment has skyrocketed, and in many communities in my district, the unemployment rate has reached 13%. The lack of economic development forces many talented individuals to leave their communities to seek out opportunities elsewhere. Title III of H.R. 2965 includes language from my bill, the Rural Technology Development and Outreach Act, that will seek to increase SBIR participation by small firms in rural areas as well as by firms owned by women, minorities, and veterans. H.R. 2965 will provide grant funding to organizations that conduct outreach regarding SBIR to these types of small businesses. While small business growth is important to any community, it is especially critical in rural and underserved areas. The measure in this bill will encourage entrepreneurship in places where it is currently lagging. By promoting innovation within these communities, H.R. 2965 will set them on a path to economic recovery. When most people hear the word innovation, they probably don't think of rural regions. But the truth is that these are the areas with the most room for growth. If we are going to rebuild our economy, then we will have to unlock new markets everywhere, from Silicon Valley to the Midwest heartland. H.R. 2965 will do just that. I ask my colleagues to join me in supporting its passage, and Mr. Chairman, I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman from Missouri.
Mr. Chairman, I'd yield balance of my time, or reserve balance of my time.
Gentleman from Oregon.
Mr. Chairman, reserve our time.
The gentleman from Nebraska.
I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman from Nebraska yields back the balance of his time. Gentlewoman from New York.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to inquire of the chair how much time we have left.
The gentlewoman from New York has 6 1/2 minutes remaining.
I yield to the gentle lady from New York, Ms. Clark, 3 minutes.
The gentlewoman from New York is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I request permission to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection.
I rise today to take a strong stand for small business by supporting H.R. 2965, the Enhancing Small Business Research and Innovation Act of 2009, which reauthorizes Small Business Innovation Research and the Small Business Technology Transfer Grants Program. This very important piece of legislation will strengthen and solidify the foundation for the growth and ultimate success of our nation's small businesses and determine the subsequent success of our country's economy. The SBIR program is one of the most successful federal programs for research and technology innovations. It has been central in the process of maintaining the U.S. as a leader in technological innovation, delivering over 60,000 patents, several hundred valuable innovations in all commercial areas, including defense and homeland security. This 111th Congress, I have the honor of sitting on the Committee of Homeland Security and chairing the Subcommittee on Emerging Threats, Cybersecurity, and Science and Technology. And as a representative of the 11th Congressional District located in central Brooklyn and a native New Yorker, I have witnessed firsthand the need for advanced technology to keep America and its citizens safe. The events of 9/11 and subsequent war in Afghanistan and in Iraq have catalyzed the need to develop both anti-terrorism technology and defense systems that will defend our nation and save precious American lives from terrorist action. Moreover, this funding is integral in providing funding for women and minority-owned firm research, and that have historically been marginalized, locked out of the system, and have more difficulty navigating through the technology innovation research arena. There's no better time than now to encourage technological innovation, to meet the federal research and development needs of our country, and to increase the quality and quantity of products in our market. And there's no other group better equipped to handle such a task than the Small Business Committee. Currently, small businesses are responsible for creating roughly 70% of new jobs and employ half of the private sector workforce. They are truly the backbone of our economy and the conduit through which we will emerge from this recession. I have had a very long-standing commitment to the support of the technological entrepreneurship and the jobs it creates. In my district in Brooklyn, our State University Medical Center is host to Brooklyn's first biotechnology incubator, where small emerging entrepreneurs are developing the cures for our nation's illnesses and diseases. This legislation enables the vital support of these entrepreneurs are desperately seeking. This is why I strongly support H.R. 2965, the Enhancing Small Business Research and Innovation Act of 2009. I thank Chairwoman Velasquez, Ranking Member Graves, Subcommittee Chairman Nye, and Congressman Altmaier for taking charge on this bill, and I yield back the balance of my time.